She whispered, "You deserve someone loyal," right before blocking me and moving in with him. For a second I thought I'd imagined it. Her breath was warm against my ear, the hallway light buzzing above us, her suitcase wheels still vibrating from where she'd just let go of the handle. The front door was open behind her, cold night air curling around my bare ankles because I hadn't thought to put shoes on. I could smell that stupid vanilla perfume she always wore when she wanted to feel put together, the one I bought her for our 3-year anniversary. "You deserve someone loyal," she whispered, like she was saying something kind, like this was some mercy killing instead of her walking out with half our apartment and a man waiting in a car downstairs. Then she leaned back, eyes already somewhere else, and before I could even process the sentence, she turned, grabbed the suitcase, and walked out. I just stood there, fingers still half curled in the air where her shoulder had been, watching her down the hallway through that weird tunnel vision you get when adrenaline hits. Her ponytail swished. The wheels of her suitcase thunked over the join between carpet and tile at the stairwell. She didn't look back. My phone buzzed in my hand with the last message she'd sent from the cooch not 5 minutes earlier. "I'm sorry, don't hate me." Looked down, thumb hovering over her name, Mia, and watched it change in real time from online to "You can no longer send messages to this user." WhatsApp, then I opened messages, failed to deliver. Instagram, user not found. In the span of 30 seconds, my wife of 2 years had done a speedrun of blocking me on everything while the lift doors swallowed her reflection along with her suitcase. I actually had the absurd thought, did she plan that line? Did she practice it? Because who just says that? It was a Thursday night, the kind of Sydney winter evening where the air feels damp but not cold enough to justify proper coats, and we'd been together for 7 years when it happened. I'm 30M, she's 29F, my name, Erin. Hers is Mia. We met when we were both 23 at a mutual friend's birthday drinks, back when settling down was something people joked about doing in their 30s like it was a foreign concept. I would never have pegged myself as the guy writing one of these long Reddit posts, dissecting my failed marriage to strangers, but here we are. I don't really know what I'm looking for, advice, validation, just somewhere to put all this, but my brain won't shut up about that line, and my friends are tired of hearing about it, so hi, internet. We were one of those we weren't supposed to be serious couples at the start. Our friend group called us the fling that got out of hand. We met at a bar in Newtown, sticky floors, indie band in the corner playing 2 loud, cheap tequila shots. Mia was standing on a milk crate trying to get the bartender's attention, waving a $50 note like a flag. She almost fell off. I grabbed her elbow without thinking, steadying her. "Careful," I said, "you almost sacrificed yourself to the cause." She laughed big and loud, not the polite little giggles I was used to from dates. "Worth it if I get the drinks faster," she said. "You in?" We ended up splitting a jug of some terrible neon cocktail and yelling at each other over the music. I remember thinking she had the most animated face I'd ever seen. Everything she thought showed up there: confusion, excitement, sarcasm. She told me she was a graphic designer, for now, she said, like it was a temporary condition, and asked me if I actually liked being an electrician or if I just fell into it. I told her the truth, that I kind of liked making broken things work again, that there was something satisfying about flicking a switch and seeing light. "You look like someone who does things properly," she said, tracing the condensation ring on the table with her finger. "Like you measure twice, cut once." "Occupational necessity," I said. "The alternative is getting electrocuted." She grinned. "Maybe I need someone like that," she said. "I'm more of a cut now, figure it out later type." I should have known then, honestly, but at 23, cut now, figure it out later sounds exciting, not terrifying. We started seeing each other casually, except it never really felt casual. She'd show up at my place with takeaway and a bottle of wine on a weeknight, just because, stay over just this once, and then leave half her skincare in my bathroom. I'm not a mind game person. I took it at face value. She wanted to be there, so she was. 3 months in, she had more stuff at my apartment than I did. My mates made bets on how long it would last. "She's out of your league," my friend Josh said one night, watching Mia try, and fail, to teach me how to use chopsticks properly. "She's going to dump you for some artsy photographer who smells like incense." "Rude," Mia said, throwing a grain of rice at him. "I happen to like functional humans." And then she'd looked at me with this weirdly soft expression that made my stomach flip. We hit the relationship milestones fast after that. Trip away together at 6 months. Move in together at a year. Adopt a rescue cat named Toast who only sat on Mia's laptop or my clothes, never his actual bed. We bickered about stupid things, whose turn it was to scoop the litter, whether coriander was disgusting, it is. But underneath it there was this solid friendship. Or I thought there was. Mia had this intensity about her. She was always chasing something. New projects, new hobbies, new playlists. She'd get obsessed with things: pottery, barefoot running, making sourdough, vintage cameras, tarot cards. She'd fling herself in, buy all the gear, watch all the videos, talk about it nonstop for 3 weeks, then drop it and move on. I used to joke that I was the only thing she'd stuck with longer than a fad diet. She'd roll her eyes and say, "Shut up, you love being my longest commitment." She had a complicated relationship with the word loyalty, which makes that last line bitterly funny now. Her dad took off when she was 12, left her mum with 3 kids and a mortgage. She talked about it differently depending on the day, sometimes with anger, sometimes with this detached, almost clinical analysis like she turned it into a case study. "He just disappeared," she told me once early on when we were still in that stage where you stay up until 3 a.m. telling each other your life stories. New girlfriend, new city, new life, blocked my mum on everything, swapped his number. We haven't heard from him in 20 years. Imagine being that selfish. I remember stroking her hair while she lay with her head in my lap on my crappy second-hand couch, feeling this fierce, naive determination rise in me. I told myself, I will never be that for her. I will never be the one who leaves. Fast forward a few years and we're buying a place together. Well, a shoebox unit in a 1970s block with peeling paint and permanently broken intercom, but to us it felt like a mansion. We painted the bedroom walls a color she found on Pinterest. We argued over whether the couch should face the TV or the balcony. We hosted friends for board game nights, and banged on the ceiling when the upstairs neighbor's kid practiced drums at 10 p.m. It wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. The proposal was very me and very her. I'm not a grand gesture guy. I thought about doing something elaborate, taking her to the place we had our first date or organizing a flash mob, my sister's suggestion, absolutely vetoed, but in the end it happened on a Sunday morning in our kitchen. She was in one of my old t-shirts, hair thrown up, standing at the bench making pancakes badly because she always burnt the first one. I'd bought a ring the week before, after way too much Googling and sweating in jewelers. "Hey," I said, heart hammering so loud I could feel it in my fingertips. "Can you not burn this one? It's important." She stuck her tongue out at me, flipped the pancake, turned around, and there I was, ring in hand, feeling like I was going to throw up. "Oh my God," she said, "you're joking." "I'm not joking," I said. "Will you marry me?" She covered her face with her hands and laughed, this messy, slightly disbelieving sound, and then she said, "Are you sure?" like I'd miscalculated something. "Pretty sure," I said, "unless Toast has alternative plans." She cried then, real ugly tears, and said yes about 6 times in a row. Later, she joked that she'd always imagined being proposed to on a mountaintop or in Paris or something, but she liked this better because it felt like us. I took that as a compliment. The first couple of years of marriage were normal, I think. Settling in, learning each other's rhythms at a deeper level. We dealt with small stuff, her freelance gigs drying up over Christmas, my overtime being cut back, arguments about whether we were on track compared to other people. Weddings will do that to you. You go from "we're in love" to "should we be saving for kids' house renovations, retirement?" in a week. We had the bigger life talks too. Kids someday, yes, but not yet. Travel, definitely. She had a list of countries she wanted to visit on her phone like a hit list. Career changes, potential move to Melbourne if either of us landed a dream job. I felt like we were on the same page. Even if that page kept getting scribbled on and rearranged, it was still the same book. The first time I heard his name was about a year ago. Liam. He was this guy from the office, mentioned in passing. Mia had picked up a part-time in-house gig at a small marketing agency to supplement her freelance work. "There's this copywriter there, Liam," she said one evening, loading the dishwasher. "He's insane, in a good way, like he has a billion ideas a minute. We were brainstorming for that food truck client and he just keeps throwing stuff out there and I'm like, how does your brain move that fast?" I didn't think anything of it. I know that might sound naive in hindsight, but we all talk about coworkers. I had my own stories about the guys on site, the apprentice who kept cutting corners, the project manager who never answered his phone. "Do you like the job?" I asked. She shrugged. "It's fine. Agency work is agency work. Deadlines, too many emails, client who thinks they know design because they once downloaded Canva. But it's nice, being around people again. I didn't realize how lonely freelancing was until I started talking to adults that aren't you or the delivery guy." I laughed, rude to Andrew the pizza dude, but fair. Over the next few months, his name popped up more often. Nothing that set off alarm bells at first, just little mentions. Liam said the client presentation was a car crash. Liam showed me this stupid meme. Liam reckons we should pitch this wild concept, and I kind of want to. The first time I felt that weird twist in my gut, the one you don't want to name as jealousy because you trust each other and you don't want to be that guy, was the night she came home from post-campaign drinks. It was a Friday. I'd done the whole domesticated husband thing, picked up her favorite tie on the way home, fed the cat, lit a candle because I'd read somewhere that ambience matters. She messaged at 6. "Mia running a bit late. Client debrief. Save me some pad, see you." At 8, still nothing, I texted again. Me, all good. Mia, yeah, all good, we're just at the bar downstairs. Celebrating, sorry, didn't realize the time. At 10:30, the key finally turned in the lock. She stumbled in, cheeks flushed, eyeliner smudged. Not wasted, but definitely tipsy. Hey, stranger, I said, trying to keep my voice light. I was starting to think you run off to join the circus. Worse, she said, kicking off her boots. I almost agreed to go to karaoke. With who? I asked, grabbing her bag. Everyone, she said vaguely. The whole gang. It's fine, I buy late, I'm old now. Midnight is my limit. Her phone buzzed as she said it. She glanced at the screen, smiled, thumbed a reply, then slid it into her back pocket. Work? I asked. Yeah, she said quickly, just debriefing, you know how it is. I did know how it was, in the sense that I've debriefed jobs before over beers, but we usually didn't do it via private texts the second we got home to our partners. Later that night, when she was in the shower and her phone lit up on the nightstand, I glanced over without thinking. I swear I wasn't snooping. It's that reflex you get when a bright rectangle lights up right next to you. I saw enough. Liam, you really bylaid when the good songs came on. Guess I'll have to drag you next time. Also, I meant what I said about you being wasted there. You could do so much better than banner ads. Her reply above it. Mia, you just want me to rewrite your headlines for you. But yeah, sometimes I think about it. Thanks for tonight, needed the laugh. Nothing explicit, nothing you could print out and hold up in court, but the tone, the little eye emoji, the I meant what I said, the intimacy you get when you're talking about dreams and frustrations with someone who isn't your spouse. I lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to the shower. The old me, the me who wanted to be the opposite of her dad, whispered, trust her, don't be paranoid, she wouldn't do that to you. The newer part of me, the one that had watched her bounce from intense interest to interest, whispered something else. She likes excitement, she likes new. I brought it up the next day. Badly, of course, there's no smooth way to say, hey, I read your notification. Are you happy? I started over breakfast. We were both half-dressed, her in a bra and jeans, me in a t-shirt and boxers. Toast weaving around her ankles. That's a weird way to ask if I'm cheating, she said immediately, raising an eyebrow. I didn't, I started. She groaned, flopping into the chair. Aaron, come on, I know that tone. You get all careful and therapist-y when you're about to say something you think I'll explode about. I hated how accurate that was. Okay, I said slowly. I saw a message last night from Liam. Her face changed. It didn't close completely, but something shuttered behind her eyes. You went through my phone. It popped up on the screen, I said. I didn't go through anything, and I'm not accusing you of whatever, I just... What? She snapped. Don't leave it hanging, just say it. I swallowed. It sounded flirty, I said, and you've been talking about him a lot, and working late, and I just want to make sure we're okay, that you and I are okay. She stared at me for a long second, then laughed. It wasn't a nice laugh. God, you sound like my mum, she said. Are we okay, Mija? You're spending a lot of time with that boy. Is that supposed to make me feel better? I asked. She sighed, rubbing her forehead. Look, she said, Liam is fun, he's chaotic. We riff off each other at work. It's like having a creative sparring partner, that's it. He flirts with everyone, it's how he is. If you read anything more into that, that's on you. So if I were texting some woman at midnight telling her she could do better than her job, you'd be cool with that? I asked. She hesitated, just for a second. Then she said, depends who she was. That's not an answer, I said quietly. Her shoulders slumped a little. I don't want to have a jealous husband, she said. I can't do that. I watch my mum spiral every time my stepdad's phone buzzed. It's exhausting. I need you to trust me. I do trust you, I said. That's why I'm saying this now when it's weird messages, not receipts from a hotel. She made a face. Okay, gross, she said. For the record, I'm not sleeping with him. I'm not planning to. I like our life. I love you. I just also like having someone who gets what I do creatively. You're great, but you glaze over when I talk about kerning. Kerning is fake, I said reflexively, then tried to smile. I'm trying to listen, though. She softened a bit at that, reached across the table, squeezed my hand. I know you are, she said. I'm sorry I made you feel weird. I'll be more careful about the texting. I wanted to believe her, so I did. For a while things seemed okay. She was still working a lot, but she made more of an effort to be home for dinner. We started doing this thing where we put our phones in a bowl for an hour after work, no screens while we ate. It felt nice. Adult, intentional. I thought, okay, we had a wobble, we communicated, we are good. Looking back, that was probably the calm before part. Little things started to shift. She changed her lock screen from a photo of us at the beach to some abstract design. She started going out with work friends on Thursday nights more regularly. When I asked who she was with, she'd list off names. Oh, you remember Jess, and Tom, and a couple of the devs. Always in groups, never just Liam and I. It took me a while to notice that whenever she showed me photos from those nights, he was always there, grinning in the background, arm around someone's shoulder, beer in hand. I don't know when the sleepover first happened. I found out about it by accident. It was a Saturday morning and I woke up alone. Not totally unusual. She was a morning person when anxiety hit, often up making lists at the kitchen table before the sun. But the apartment was silent. Toast was sitting on the end of the bed, tail flicking. No clatter of dishes, no kettle. I checked my phone, no messages. I checked the bathroom. Empty. Her toothbrush was there, her hairbrush, her random bobby pins scattered on the counter. Her shoes from last night were gone. So was the denim jacket she usually left on the chair. I told myself she'd ducked out to get coffee. Then I saw her location in my messages, the little shared location until end of day. We'd set up ages ago when she walked home late from the train. It said she was in Redfern, not far, and the label under the pin was Liam's place, because she'd gone there once for a work thing and saved it so she didn't get lost. The sick feeling that washed through me then, I still feel it writing this. I sat on the edge of the bed for a good 5 minutes just breathing, the blood roaring in my ears. Then I did the thing you're not supposed to do but also can't not do when you think your world is about to split. I texted her. Me, hey, you okay? Where are you? The 3 dots appeared almost instantly. Mia, hey, sorry, I should have messaged. Crashed at Jess. We had wine and I didn't want to pay for an Uber back. I'm just grabbing coffee, be home soon, Roman 20. I stared at the screen, then back at the map, then back at the screen. Jess did not live in Redfern. Jess lived in Marrickville. I knew because we'd helped her move. I took a screenshot of the map, thumb shaking, then stopped. I actually paused and thought, am I really about to go down this road? Because once you accuse, you can't unaccuse, even if you're right. In the end, I didn't send the screenshot. I stuffed my panic down and replied, me, okay, let me know if you want me to pick you up. Mia, it's all good, I'm already on the train. See you soon. She walked in half an hour later, hair in a messy bun, wearing the same clothes as last night, smelling like stale wine and someone else's laundry detergent. Hey, sleepy, she said, kissing the top of my head. You look like you saw a ghost. You shared your location with me, remember? I said, trying to keep my voice even. It says you were at Liam. For a second, the mask slipped. Something flicked across her face, guilt, annoyance, something. Then she shrugged, all casual. Yeah, Jess's phone died, she said. We ended up at Liam because it was closer to the bar. There were like 5 of us. Chill. Did you sleep there? I asked. Yeah, she said like it was nothing. We all did, there's a spare room, don't be weird about it. Did you sleep in the same bed as him? I pressed, hatting myself and needing to know. She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might fall out. Oh my God, Erin, she said. Can you hear yourself? You're doing the jealous husband thing again. No, I did not sleep with him. I crashed in the spare with Jess. We were fully clothed, it was not an orgy. She said it like I was being ridiculous, like the facts. Her not coming home, lying by omission, being at his place overnight, were completely neutral. I wanted to believe her so badly my chest hurt. Okay, I said quietly. I'm not trying to control where you go. I just need you to see how this looks from here. She softened again, did this thing where she cupped my face in her hands. I know, she said. I'm sorry, I should have messaged. I don't want my whole life to be running things past you. You're my partner, not my dad, but I get that you worry. I promise I'll be clearer next time, okay? There was no next time, at least not one I knew about, or there were 100 and I just didn't catch them. That's the thing that messes with your head after. How much was I catching? How much was the tip of an iceberg? The fight that broke things open properly happened 2 months before the suitcase in the hallway. It started over something stupid, as these things do. I'd left a coffee cup on her desk in the study. She has this thing about clutter, it messes with her focus. She came home, saw the mug, and it turned into a whole thing about respect and consideration. You treat this place like a share house, she snapped, banging the cup down in the sink. Like I'm just going to follow behind you picking up your shit. That's not fair, I said. I do most of the dishes, I vacuum, I work full-time too, remember? Oh my God, she said, throwing her hands up. Do you want a medal for vacuuming once a week? This is exactly what I mean. You're so complacent. You think doing the bare minimum makes you husband of the year. Where is this coming from? I asked, genuinely confused. From living with you, she shot back. From feeling like I'm dragging you through life. I'm trying to grow, Erin. I'm trying to become someone. And you're just fine with everything. This job, this apartment, this routine. You never challenge me. You never call me on my shit. You just nod and make tea. I thought being supportive was good, I said, hearing how small I sounded. It's good if you're a golden retriever, she said. I don't want a pet, I want a partner. That's harsh, I said, strung. Maybe you need to hear it, she said. Do you even know what I want anymore? Besides vague more, do you ask, or do you just assume I'll always be here, orbiting around whatever you build? I wanted to yell back, to list all the ways I'd bent and adjusted over the years, the times I'd taken extra shifts so she could take lower-paying freelance gigs she was passionate about, the holidays we'd planned around her sister's schedule, the way I'd learned to like tofu, but I just shut down, that old instinct again, avoid escalation, be smaller, keep the peace. I'm sorry you feel that way, I said instead. Which, yeah, is a bullshit non-apology, but it was either that or blow up. She stared at me, disgust flickering across her face. That's it, she said. That's all you've got. Sorry you feel that way. What do you want me to say? I asked, frustrated. Do you want me to call you selfish for staying out all night at some guy's house? Do you want me to demand your phone and go through your messages? Because I can. I can be that guy if you want to see that version of me. Her eyes flashed. You know what? She said, grabbing her keys. I'm going for a drive. I can't do this right now. She left, no destination given. No, I'll be back. Just gone. She came back hours later, eyes red, smelling like smoke. She doesn't smoke. Where were you? I asked. Does it matter? She said dully. I just needed to think. We didn't resolve anything that night. We just stopped talking when it got too hard. That became the pattern. In hindsight, that's probably when she mentally checked out. The rest was logistics. And that brings us back to the hallway, to the suitcase and the whisper and the blocks. The lead up to that night was almost anticlimactic. She'd been distant for weeks. We'd done 2 sessions of couples therapy that felt like unpeeling a very raw onion. She cried a lot. I cried once and then felt weird about it. The therapist asked good questions like, Mia, are you here to improve this relationship or to get permission to leave? And Erin, what parts of yourself have you shelved to keep this connection? Mia's answers were vague. One Monday, she texted me at lunch. Mia, can we talk tonight? Me, that sounds ominous. Mia, it's not great, but it's not like someone died. That not like someone died line haunts me, because it was exactly like someone died, just slower. She came home early, which was my first clue. No drinks, no lingering at the office. She sat on the couch instead of at the table, hands in her lap, twisting her wedding ring around and around. I've been offered a room, she said without preamble. A room, I repeated. At Liam, she said. He has a spare. His housemate moved out, it's cheap, close to the agency. I think I'm going to take it. The words hit like physical blows. My ears rang. What? I said. You're moving out. She nodded, eyes shiny. I don't think this is working anymore, Erin, she said. We've been trying, but it feels like I'm suffocating you and you're shrinking yourself, and we're both resentful. Resentful enough to move in with the guy I asked you about, I said, anger flaring past the shock. You couldn't just get a room in a share house. You had to go straight to him. Her chin wobbled. He offered, she said. He knows what's been going on. Of course he does, I said. You've been narrating our marriage to him for months. That's not fair, she whispered. It's not fair that you've turned our relationship into character development for your workplace situationship, I snapped. We went back and forth like that for a while. She said she still loved me but not in the right way. She said she felt drawn to him, that he saw her. She said she felt like she was abandoning me but that staying would be more cruel. I said things I'm not proud of, called her selfish, impulsive, a cliché. She flinched but didn't deny it. At one point, I asked the question that had been sitting like a stone in my throat for months. Have you slept with him? I asked. She hesitated, then she shook her head slowly. Not yet, she said. The yet made me nauseous. So what, you're leaving to make it not cheating, I said. Get your moral high ground. Tears spilled over now. I'm leaving because I can't keep living half here and half there, she said. It's not fair to you, or me. You keep saying fair like this is some ethical dilemma, I said. You're moving in with a guy you have feelings for while you're still married to me. You can word it however helps you sleep at night. She stared at me, then looked away. I'll stay with my sister until we sort the logistics, she said. Then I'll move my stuff out. I'm not going to just vanish. Except she kind of did. We agreed in a shaky, stunned way that she'd pack some essentials that night and go to her sister. For a few days, while we figured out what to do with the unit, the cat, the furniture, I watched her move around our bedroom, pulling clothes from hangers, folding them badly into a suitcase we'd bought together on sale. Every item was a memory. The dress she wore to my cousin's wedding, the hoodie she stole from me on our first weekend away, the pajama pants with cartoon avocados. She came back into the hallway with the suitcase, eyes red, nose pink, toast wound around her legs, meowing in confusion. She bent down, scratched his head. "I'll see you soon, little man," she whispered. "Be good." "Are you going to tell him you're moving in?" I asked, leaning against the wall because my knees felt like they might give out. She looked at me like I was being dense. "He already knows," she said. "This is sudden, Aaron. I've been thinking about it for weeks." Right, of course she had. We stood there facing each other, with the door open and the hallway light buzzing. She stepped in close then, closer than she had in days, and for a second I thought she might change her mind, that she'd drop the suitcase, bury her face in my chest and say she couldn't do it. Instead, she reached up, put her hand on my cheek, and whispered that sentence. "You deserve someone loyal." Like she was blessing me, like she wasn't the one choosing disloyalty in that precise moment. Then she was gone, and my phone was showing me user blocked, and my world tilt shifted. The next few days were the worst kind of surreal. I expected her to reach out, to send a long email at least explaining. Instead, silence. Her sister texted once to ask if I was okay. I lied and said yeah, just sorting things. Our mutual friends blew up my phone, most of them more shocked than helpful. "Wait, so she left you for Liam?" my friend Josh said when we met up for a beer I didn't want. Like, actually left. "Yep," I said, staring at the condensation on the glass. "Dude," he said, "that's brutal." "Thanks, Josh." It took me a week to realize she wasn't just cooling off. She blocked me on everything for real, not as some dramatic pause. Even our shared Spotify account booted me with a "this device no longer has access." Cold, but also kind of impressive in a petty way. The legal stuff came later. An email from a generic-sounding law firm with Ray, separation in the subject line. I opened it and had to sit down. It was so formal. Date of marriage, date of separation, proposals about asset division. We didn't have a lot, a bit of equity in the unit, some savings, but seeing it outlined like a contract made it feel less like a relationship ending and more like a business dissolving. I got my own lawyer. I did the practical things you're supposed to do. Updated passwords, talked to the bank, sorted my name off her car insurance. I replied through the proper channels instead of firing off the angry emails I drafted at 2 a.m., but none of that touched the emotional mess. About a month after she left, I saw a photo of them together for the first time. A mutual friend posted a group shot from a housewarming. The caption was something innocuous like "New Beginnings." And there they were on the couch, Mia leaning into Liam's side, his arm draped around her casually, both of them looking unbearably comfortable. She'd cut her hair shorter, he grown a beard. They looked like a couple. I stared at that photo until Instagram politely asked if I wanted to see fewer posts like this. I threw my phone across the couch and sat there with my head in my hands thinking, she did it. She actually did it. She built a whole new life and just stepped into it. People love to say things like "you dodged a bullet," or "better you find out now than later." Maybe they're right. Intellectually, I know someone who can do what she did, emotionally clock out, line up the next place to land, then whisper some faux compassionate bullshit while blocking me, was always capable of it. It wasn't like I made her that way. But emotionally, it feels less like dodging a bullet and more like getting hit, and then being told I should be grateful it wasn't a truck. I've replayed "that you deserve someone loyal" line so many times my brain has started remixing it. Sometimes I hear it as genuine regret, her trying and failing to articulate, "I know I'm about to do something shitty to you, and you really do deserve better than this version of me." Sometimes I hear it as pure deflection, her way of making herself the noble one, the tragic heroine who leaves to save me from her own brokenness. Sometimes I hear it in my own voice, said to myself in the mirror when I'm tempted to stalk their socials. Other times, if I'm honest, it sounds like mockery. Like she got to walk away with someone who she clearly decided was worth risking everything for, and I'm left holding this participation trophy phrase. I've been in therapy the last couple of months. Real therapy, not talking to friends over beers. My therapist is very into questions like, what story are you telling yourself about this? And where might you be making her choices about you when they're about her? It's annoying, but also helpful. The story I default to if I'm not careful is that I wasn't enough, not exciting enough, not creative enough, not challenging enough, that if I'd been more like Liam, quicker with words, more erratic and interesting, more whatever, she would have stayed. The story I'm trying to replace it with is this, that Mia has a hole in her that no amount of new will fill. that she equates intensity with love, that she gets off on the sprint of falling for someone and hasn't yet proved she can stick around for the marathon, that her dad's disappearance left her with a warped sense of what loyalty even is, and until she deals with that, she'll keep bouncing from person to person, whispering variations of "you deserve better," while she chases the next high. That doesn't erase my part. I do think I shrank sometimes, trying not to rock the boat. I let things slide that I should have confronted sooner because I didn't want to be controlling. I made myself smaller in arguments to avoid becoming my own father, who yelled and slammed doors. I thought I was being good when sometimes I was just being absent. That's my work to do so I don't end up in the same dynamic with someone else. But I also know, I'm trying to know, that being steady is not a flaw. That being loyal in the boring day-in day-out way is not the consolation prize. That I don't have to turn myself into some unpredictable, emotionally volatile chaos man to be loved properly. As for Mia, we haven't spoken since the logistics were finalized. The last communication we had was through the lawyers about what to do with Toast. She wanted him, so did I in the end. I kept the unit and the mortgage, and Toast stayed with me because moving him to a share house with 2 dudes and a loud dog seemed cruel. She didn't fight it. Part of me was glad. Another part was devastated that she gave that up so easily. Sometimes, when the apartment is quiet and Toast is sleeping on my chest and my phone is blessedly not buzzing, I remember the version of us on that sticky bar floor, yelling over music, trading jokes. I remember her tracing circles on my arm while we watched trash TV. I remember her falling asleep in the passenger seat on road trips, mouth slightly open, trust implicit. And then I remember her in the hallway, suitcase handle in her hand, eyes already moving past me. I remember my phone lighting up with "You deserve someone loyal," one last time as she cut me off in every digital way. I remember that she made a choice. I don't know yet if I'll ever fully forgive her. I don't know if I even need to. People act like forgiveness is the only path to healing, but right now I'm okay with a more neutral goal, indifference. I want to get to a place where hearing her name doesn't make my stomach drop, where seeing a photo of her doesn't feel like a punch, where I can think we had some good years. She hurt me. I survived. The end. For now, I'm taking small steps. I go to work. I come home. I'm learning to cook things that aren't just stir-fry and toast. I started playing five-a-side soccer again on Wednesdays. I said yes to a drink with a friend of a friend without panicking. I deleted our wedding photos from my phone, backed them up on a hard drive, I'm not a complete masochist, and changed my lock screen to a photo I took on a hike, all blue sky and trees. And every so often, when my brain starts spiraling into what if I'd done this differently, maybe she'd be here, I hear that line in her voice and flip it. She whispered, "You deserve someone loyal," like she was doing me a favor. Maybe in a twisted way she was, because now when I picture some future person in my life, someone who picks my mug up off the desk and kisses me instead of turning it into a character flaw, I know the bare minimum is not just that they make my heart race, it's that they stay. So yeah, maybe I do deserve someone loyal, and maybe she does too eventually, but she wasn't that someone, not for me, and I'm finally starting to believe that says more about her than it ever did about my worth.